Good afternoon, one and all. What a horrible weekend that was, really. Couldn't get out of there quickly enough, I got to say. Oh, just absolutely terrible. But anyway, we find ourselves in familiar territory, but with a decision to be made. And you're either Pellegrini in, Pellegrini out, or you're unsure. There is a third one. But what is really important is what the owners are. And I think they know that it's not time for Pellegrini to continue. Before I continue, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. That description in the link below. Loads of West Ham stuff on there today. They are running heavy with this story as well. OneFootball is going all. It's all about West Ham's new manager, replacement manager, and what the owners are going to do. Check it out. If you don't like it, you can delete it. I think the owners have decided that it's time for Pellegrini to go. My only concern is the dither and the delay about it. And what you've got to decide upon is, do the owners think he's the long-term solution for West Ham? And the answer to that is no. I think they've already decided that actually this is the guy that's not going to take us forward. Well, if that's the case, why would you keep him on? Well, I think financial is a big one, is a massive one. They don't particularly want to do the payoff. But then if you're not doing that, then £10 million a year, or for him and his staff, or whatever the figure might be, is an awful lot of money to pay out for somebody that you know is not going to achieve your long-term goal. Is not even able to implement your short-term strategy. But you're still going to pay him. Why? Because you can't quite bring yourself to pay him off. The unfortunate thing is we find ourselves in a competition now, and I don't mean the competition in the Premier League, where we find ourselves very, very near the bottom, and with a match this evening that could send us even further to the bottom. We find ourselves in a sack race competition. And we have our competitors, and our competitors are Arsenal, Man U, Watford, and Everton, and maybe anyone else you can think of. They're our competitors at the moment. And the reason they're our competitors is because they're looking for a new manager. And if we dither, and if we delay, and if we procrastinate and just take our time, we wait until after Chelsea, and we wait until after Wolves, then we're going to find ourselves in a serious pickle, because the other teams will act more quickly than we will. They will replace their managers, and they may well replace them with people that we might fancy. Now, who you fancy is a different subject altogether. The rumours are at the moment that you've heard them. The Benitez rumour is heavy. We know the owners like him. The Eddie Howe rumour seems to have gathered some pace. Whatever happens, they're going to have to pay money. It's going to cost money. And they have to get out of the mindset of not making a change because it will cost them money. It's going to cost money to get rid of Pellegrini. He's on a 12-month rolling contract. It's going to cost them 10 million to get rid of him. It may well cost them 10 to 15 million to get another contract terminated by a manager that we covet and that we're looking to get. You want Eddie Howe, you're going to have to pay for him. You want Benitez, you're going to have to pay for him. Not only are you going to have to pay for him, you're going to have to lure them with the promise of funds in the January transfer window. They may look at our squad and think that there are, even at the best, that there are 8 players that they want to work with. Well, they're still going to want to bring in 3 to sort out their first team. You're going to have to promise them funds. You're going to have to pay. This is going to be an expensive exercise, but not half as expensive as getting relegated. The owners are due to be taking out 40 million in January. We know this, 40 to 45 million pounds sterling. That means that there's 40 to 45 million pounds sat there somewhere. Again, you may listen to spin, and you may hear the spin that the money's not there. But if they're going to take it out, they're going to find it from somewhere. They have to not take that money. They can't take that money. What they're going to have to do is whatever money, wherever they were getting it from, they're going to have to use it to pay off Pellegrini, and they're going to have to use it to pay off, whatever, Eddie Howe, Benitez, whoever they're going after. And if they don't do that, then they're going to find themselves in very, very hot water. Because when you try and get these people out of their contracts, it ain't cheap. But the club are very keen to tell us that when we buy a player, they often say, oh, but you have to spread the money over 5 years, so we're paying it off. We're still paying for Felipe Anderson. We're still paying for Issa Diop. You don't pay it all in one go. That is true. That is very, very true. What is also true, and you don't hear this part of the story, is when you pay a manager off, you don't just give him the elbow and then say, bye-bye, Manuel, here is your 8 million and here's your 2 million for your staff. That's not how it happens. There's a lot of negotiation. And a lot of the time what happens is they actually continue to pay their monthly wage. I think when now Abramovich got rid of Mourinho the second time, I think he was just still paying him monthly up until the point where he got a job. At the point where Mourinho got a job, all that Chelsea did was pay the difference. There was no big lump sum. There's no way Tottenham have just given Pochettino a lump sum of money. They will pay him monthly until he gets a job. And then, what's he on? 8 million a year, Pochettino? If his next job is 6 million a year, then what will happen is Tottenham will continue to pay him £2 million a year. They'll pay the difference because that's how the contract works. That's how it works in football. I'm not saying it's going to be cheap, but it's something that's got to be done. And as I'm saying, if we delay, then the other clubs take the managers we want. They reckon that Everton might be interested in Moyes. Maybe they're not. Maybe Everton are interested in Benitez. Maybe Everton are interested in Eddie Howe. I know there are others, but for the sake of the argument, yes, use those two. And the other argument I hear is that we can't take Eddie Howe from Bournemouth because Bournemouth is more attractive. Well, that's a sorry state of affairs. I love Bournemouth. I love the town. I love the club. I'd like to move there one day, right? My mum lives down there. I love Bournemouth and I love the surrounding area. But what a sorry state of affairs if we've moved from Upton Park to Stratford with all these promises of everything. And actually, it turns out we can't prize Eddie Howe from Bournemouth. Watched Sheffield United play last night. I actually watched a game of football last night. I watched Sheffield United against Manchester United. Good game of football. He looks good. Wilder, their manager. But as someone will say, oh, you know, Wilder won't want to leave Sheffield United. What a sorry state of affairs. If we've done all this move and we can't pinch a manager from Bournemouth and we can't pinch a manager from Sheffield United, then I'm not sure we've even gone forward since we left Upton Park. We may well have gone backwards. Looking at someone talking about the team tonight, Jack Grealish, wonderful player. Wouldn't mind him at West Ham. Can't get him. Can't sign players from Aston Villa either, even though they've been down the Championship. And you always wonder, what was the point? What was the point in doing all of this? And I look at the teams, I look at the upcoming fixtures, and I watched Gio's video last night, and he spoke about, you know, whoever comes in, they're going to lose the Chelsea game. I agree with that. I said the same thing in our review on Saturday. But I tell you what, things aren't going to get any better, because having watched Match of the Day, and having watched some of those teams, we're playing Wolves. Wolves look back to their best. They had a little bit of a hiccup when they went into Europe, didn't they? Went into the Europa Cup, had a bit of a hiccup. Now, I do not want to play Wolves any time soon. The last thing we need is that Adama Traore running at our fullbacks. I mean, really, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for us. It's looking difficult to win that game. Arsenal, they're going to replace their manager. That's what I'm saying about Dither. We may well find ourselves, by the time we face Arsenal, they've replaced their manager. And then what happens? They're going to have the uplift from that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Even if they don't, we've still got to face those players like Lacazette and Aubameyang. Arsenal are in difficulties, but looking at the league, they're nowhere near as much difficulties as us. Might not be enough mid-table for the owners, for Stan Kroenke or whatever his name is. He may well take action, but would still be in trouble for that game, which leaves Southampton. They didn't look too bad. Redmond looked good. Danny Ings scored a good goal. There's nothing to say that they won't do us some damage. They can get our defence, of course they can. So we've got to do something. If we're going to do something, you can't leave it until after Wolves. You can't leave it till after Chelsea and then hope for a win against Southampton. We may well be in the bottom 3 by then. It's time to do something. And what they say, they say, if you snooze, you lose.